Welcome. We've got some thrilling Arsenal news lined up for you, so stay tuned until the end to catch all the latest updates. And don't forget to leave 300 likes to keep us motivated in bringing you the latest Arsenal updates. Arsenal's Emirates Masterclass, 3 cracking lessons from Bayern's 3-1 walloping. In a right proper Emirates rumble that had the North London faithful frothing at the mouth, Mikel Arteta's Gunners dished out a tactical clinic to Vincent Kompany's Bayern Munich, running out 3-1 victors and handing the Bavarians their first proper hiding of the 2025-26 season. Jurrien Timber rose like a bleeding colossus to nut home Bukayo Saka's wicked corner for the opener, only for whiz-kid Lennart Karl to leather one back on his dodgy foot and give the away end a fleeting hope. But come the second half, Arsenal turned it on like a light switch. Declan Rice nicked the pill off a dozy Dayot Upamecano. The ball pinged through Bayern's and Riccardo Calafiori to Noni Madueke, who thundered a header into the onion bag for his maiden Champions League strike. 5 minutes later, Gabriel Martinelli, that cheeky Brazilian speed merchant, picked a loose pass, shrugged off his marker, and chipped a sublime lob over a stranded Manuel Neuer to seal the deal. It was grit, guile, and a spot of German efficiency undone by pure Guna. Now Soaji doesn't even cover it. What a load of takeaways from this continental cracker. First off, Arteta's set-piece sorcery is now the stuff of nightmares for Europe's big boys, with Timber's bullet header proving that corners ain't just for waving flags anymore. Secondly, Bayern's vaunted counter-machine sputtered like an old Vauxhall when Arsenal cranked up the press. Kompany's lads looked exposed, all Teutonic precision gone awry in the second half scrap, a right wake-up call for their knockout ambitions. And finally, the Gunners' bench depth is deeper than the Thames at low tide. Madueke and Martinelli off the pine turning the tide shows Arteta's squad rotation is firing on all cylinders, cementing Arsenal as genuine contenders rather than nearly men. Bayern can lick their wounds back in the fatherland, but this was Arsenal saying, loud as a foghorn, "We're here to stay, and we're loving every minute of the bants." Harry Kane speaks out about Arsenal finally get their revenge as Bayern's unbeaten run ends in 3-1 Emirates thrashing. In a proper North London night to remember, Arsenal turned over old foes Bayern Munich 3-1 under the Emirates lights on Wednesday, handing Vincent Kompany's side their first defeat of the 2025-26 campaign and ending months of Bavarian swagger. The game started cagey, both sides sizing each other up, but it was the Gunners who struck first in the 22nd minute. Bukayo Saka swung in a peach of a corner and Jurrien Timber leapt like a salmon to bury his header past a flapping Manuel Neuer. The Bayern bench moaned about a shove, but the ref wasn't having any of it. 1-0 Arsenal, and the place started buzzing. Bayern weren't about to lie down though. Minutes later Joshua Kimmich pinged a 40-yard diagonal, Serge Gnabry killed it with one touch, and 17-year-old Lennart Karl leathered it home with his weaker foot. The travelling end went ballistic and for a while it felt like the old Bayern counter-attacking machine might nick it. Come the second half, Arteta's lads came out like a different animal. They pinned Bayern back, pressed like madmen, and never let them breathe. The breakthrough arrived in the 69th minute after Dayot Upamecano dithered on the ball like he'd forgotten his boots. Declan Rice nicked it, fed Bayern's, Riccardo Calafiori whipped in a cross and Noni Madueke rose highest to thunder a header into the roof of the net, his first in the Champions League, and what a way to announce yourself. Harry Kane, speaking to the press afterwards, was full of praise for the winger. Noni's header was different class. He got above everyone, timed his jump perfectly and the power on it. I was standing right there and all I could do was put my hands on my head. That's a top goal from a lad who's absolutely flying right now. 5 minutes later Gabriel Martinelli rubbed salt in the wounds. He picked off a loose pass, shrugged off a challenge and then, cheeky as you like, lifted the most exquisite chip over Neuer who'd wandered miles off his line. The ball dropped under the bar and the Emirates absolutely erupted 3-1. Game done. Vincent Kompany cut a frustrated figure on the touchline but was gracious in defeat. Fair play to Arsenal, they were the better side. We started all right but second half we never turned up. We made it far too easy for them and they've got quality all over the pitch, plus a ridiculous bench, the Belgian admitted. Yet the Bayern boss couldn't hide his hunger for another crack at Arteta's side. I'd love to play them again as soon as possible. Hopefully later in the competition we'll learn from this one. For Arsenal, this was sweet revenge against a club that's haunted them for years, and against a manager who knows exactly how to win titles. For Bayern, the unbeaten streak is over, but with Harry Kane, Michael Olise, and the rest still to come good, they'll be licking their wounds and looking for a rapid response. One thing's certain, kompany's already circling the return fixture on the calendar. Joshua Kimmich has a right go at Arsenal's scrappy tactics after that Emirates walloping. In a proper post-match pop at the Gunners, Bayern Munich's midfield maestro Joshua Kimmich reckoned Arsenal ain't the toughest nuts they've cracked this season, slinging mud at their long ball lunacy and set-piece shenanigans during Wednesday night's Champions League ding-dong. With Arsenal keeping their perfect record spotless, the only side in the tournament without a blemish, it was a right old twist of the knife for Vincent Kompany's lot, who tumbled to third after copping their first L of the campaign. The Emirates was buzzing like a beehive when Jurrien Timber rose highest to nut home Bukayo Saka's wicked corner in the opening half, giving the home lads a leg up they weren't about to let slip. But Bayern, ever the stubborn sods, hit back quick as a flash through whiz-kid Lennart Karl, making it all square and setting up a second-half scrap that had the neutrals on the edge of their seats. Kimmich, that German engine room enforcer with a tongue as sharp as his passing, didn't mince words when the TNT Sports MIC was shoved under his nose. He flat out said the Gunners' game plan was a far cry from the silky stuff Bayern dished out against the Parisians earlier on. No, this was more about hoofing it long and scrapping for the scraps. Arsenal is completely different, he scoffed. They rely on set pieces. They love to play long balls. They love to fight for second balls. It's the sort of banter that'd have Mikel Arteta's lot chuckling into their post-match pies, but you could hear the frustration dripping off every syllable. Comparing it to their clash with PSG, Kimmich laid it on thick. It was a completely different game against PSG. It was more of a football game. Ouch, that's him calling out the Gunners for turning top-tier footy into a mud wrestling match, all elbows and second ball scraps rather than tiki-taka tiptoeing. Tonight was not so much about football, he carried on, the salt in his voice turning the airwaves salty. It was more about game management and duels. Fair play to the lad for admitting Arsenal bossed those battles. Mind, no sour grapes there, just a captain's captain owning the rough edges of the beautiful game. And let's not forget, Kimmich tipped his cap in the end. Arsenal did this really well tonight. Their win was well deserved, but we have to learn from this game. It's that grudging respect that keeps the rivalry bubbling, innit? Bayern slipped down the table, but with lessons like this, they'll be back with bells on. For Arsenal, it's another notch on the bedpost in their quest to conquer Europe, proving that a bit of grit and guile can outfox even the Teutonic tacticians. Arteta's blueprint, all set pieces and second ball scraps, might ruffle feathers across the channel, but when it delivers 3 points against the big boys, who's complaining? One thing's for sure, Kimmich's jabs have lit a fuse under this tie, and if there's a rematch down the line, expect the Emirates to erupt like Vesuvius. Bayern's licking their wounds, but footy's a long old season, and the Gunners have just shown how to play it dirty and win big. Koig. Thanks for watching Arsenal Time. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Continue following the Gunners' journey with us, and see you in the next video. Come on, you Gunners!